How's everybody doing? Otherwise, I know, a bit of a crazy few days. Let's get our audio signal.
This is Kathy. It's been a bucket full of chuckles.
Bucket full of files.
Yep. I'm from Chapman. We shut down in 12 hours notice. We're all online in 12 hours.
In 12 hours.
Yes.
Jeez, I feel a
I'm
little.
too old for this, but I figured out where all the buttons are on the Teams, and we did our first wound care online seminar. So,
Good.
so good.
Good, good. Well, hopefully this will make things go a little smoother for everybody. That's the goal. So I guess we'll get started in a little bit. Is Mark on? Mariana, do you see him on?
I haven't seen him on, no.
Okay. Let me get the chat. Minimize that. Sorry, I'm missing everything up here, so everything kind of good to go. Ah, there it is. Chat bar. There we go.
Hey, Rich, I'm going to keep myself somewhat muted. Our neighbor's kids are jumping on the trampoline and our dogs keep howling at them.
Oh, well, that sounds lovely. All right. Are you guys all able to see, hopefully just a single large screen? Should just be like this slide here. You guys all able? Okay, great. So I've got a few like very basic slides to go over some information here, just some of the basics, and then hopefully we'll open it up to discussion if you guys ask some questions. So yeah, I'll send that out as well. I literally made these like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, I'll get those out to you guys. I'll just post them on my PT Reviewer web, like Facebook page and stuff like that. So you guys can download them at your disposal. There will also be a recording of this, like this is recording right now, just to let you guys know. So audio and video signal will be captured. So if you're not comfortable having your face on there, just like keep it muted or keep it hidden. Your videos should be hidden, but this will be posted onto YouTube and probably my Facebook as soon as we finish. Okay. All right, guys. So I don't want to keep you any longer. It's Sunday afternoon, so we'll kind of get rolling here. So my name is Rich Severin. I am a faculty member at UIC and at Baylor University. I've been teaching in hybrid and online education, both at the graduate academic level, so master's and PhD students, DPT students, as well as post-professionals like PTs and other professionals for about 5 years. So a good bit of experience with this. Mariana Wingwood is also, or Wingwood has taught with the Evidence in Motion in Medbridge, so she's volunteered to kind of lend some of her time as well. And Mark Shepard, also expert in this domain, with the hybrid models at South College and Baylor, as well as Evidence in Motion and Baylor College. So we've got a pretty good team on here. So we'll go over some of the basics. So, the thing I get asked, or I think people have a lot of questions about, because this apparently has been sprung on people at different varyings or different timelines. We have a couple weeks to kind of get things online. All right, some people have 12 hours. What's everyone's timeline roughly for transitioning your curriculum? You guys use a chat bar. Oh, now? Okay. 1 week? 1 week, okay. All right. 2 weeks, thankfully. Great. Already transitioned. Is that Becky Bliss? How's it going, Becky? Okay. All right, so a little bit of a mixed bag, but seeing like a week for most people. Okay. All right. So the reason why I asked that, because some of this stuff, like again, this is going to be a bit of a crash course, because it's a bit of a crash course situation. So my goal is not to make you guys mute yourselves. Okay. It's not to make you guys experts in this right from the jump, but at least give you usable tools and at least let you know what you need to have in order. Please keep yourself muted to make yourselves functional, right, to do these things. So technology considerations, your two biggest premiums that I'd stress are your processor speed as well as your bandwidth. So if you have a processor above an i5 or anything that runs above 2.8 gigahertz with a clock, or cache of about 6 megabytes, that's probably going to be enough to get you by for most of the things that you're going to be asked to do for online format, live recording, video conferencing, stuff like that. If you do have a slower computer, you might run into some issues. We'll talk about that. But I would do some quick tech specs. Usually most university computers are going to give you something faster than that. But your processor speed, your bandwidth, and your RAM and your cache are like probably the 3 biggest things for doing anything online. And we'll talk about kind of why in a bit. Hard drive, I have that mentioned on there. You're going to want to have space. How many of you guys have done some recording already? How many of you have done some recording already? You can just use the chat bar. None. Lots? Yeah. So, from my experience, typically you're seeing about a gigabyte data for roughly an hour video, maybe a little more depending on the quality. What are you guys seeing in terms of your space being taken up? Is anyone checking, at least? Yeah. Haven't tracked. State University. So using it on your, okay, unsure. Yeah, so if you're doing your recordings at home, just be mindful of that. You might want to notice, you might want to consider using a cloud-based or your university network server, because video content takes up a lot of data. So just be careful of that. Maybe look into getting an external monitor if you're doing it at home. Cloud-based, yeah. So just be mindful that it does take up a good bit of space. So if you have, before you start, before you start, make sure to review what you have available to you guys on your hard drive, because it will take up a lot of space if you're using your work laptop or your personal laptop. Your operating system, we run everything at Baylor and at UIC on Windows 10. And Apple, I think it's OS 13. So that's what we're running on that. Your webcam, usually the default webcam you have is probably fine. If you want to use, we have, the external, HD webcam. I use the one that's built into my laptop. I have a Latitude, I think that was a Latitude 2370 is the standard one most universities use. And then your display. I recommend, or we recommend 13 inches or larger for your laptop. I actually recommend always using dual monitors for your recording and for your live video conferences. There's a little bit of a insight. This is the setup I'm talking to you guys from now. I have a triple monitor setup. It gets really, really useful when I'm doing recordings or doing lecture. That way I can pull up my notes, have them available to me. I can look directly in the webcam. I've got space for things. So if you're doing your recordings, if you have an external monitor, it's something I would consider, if that's available to you at your university. Yeah, I'll even show you guys, we even have these. Baylor has even hooked us up with one of these guys here. It's a portable external monitor. I can take this with me, if I'm going remotely as well. If you have an iPad, most iPads now, I believe, allow you to use that as a secondary monitor. I can't remember the name of the software that does it or the function, but even an iPad and you run a Mac-based system, Sidecar, that's what it is. I'd recommend using it for sure. Great. So recording. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, Kathy. Great. So recording considerations. Probably the biggest thing, break up your large lectures into shorter clips. Like, I think the issue most faculty struggle with when they're transitioning or converting things. I ran into this myself when I did my first series or the alpha versions of our content going at South College and Baylor. I was trying to do the entire lecture in one recording. Break it up into shorter clips, 10 to 15 minutes. And I can tell you this from when we went from our alpha models of content to our beta models or updated content through the EIM consortium. It was like the response from students was overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, and Mariana brings up a good point. Like, think about like when you watch something on YouTube, right? Like, you're probably not gonna sit through something that's 45 minutes, right? But something that's 10 to 15 minutes, right? A little bit more easier to consume. It also makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I'm gonna post that later, guys. I'm gonna make it available to everyone. When you make these shorter clips, it makes it easier to edit and to make your revisions too. So instead of having a 45-minute clip and having to go back through and find the exact moment, it's a little bit easier to find something that's a little bit shorter in duration. So I would really recommend like cutting it down, paring it down, 10 to 15 minutes, at the very most 20. You want to be in that 10 to 15 minute sweet spot. Don't do just one take of everything. There are several software options available to you guys. You know, we use a variety of different things. You know, there's Camtasia that's out there. That's one I use. Snagit's another one. Adobe Spark, I think, has some stuff you can do with recording and video. If you don't want to purchase external software, additional software, there is PowerPoint has an annotated slide function. Not the best overall, but it's a cheaper way. It doesn't have any additional cost if you want to do your recordings. I'd also recommend, if you have a tablet, there is an app on, let me pull this up here, on, you can get to the App Store for free. Pull this up, called Record It. And I'll show you a little example of that here. So this is a quick little recording I did just before we started, that screen capture recording for PowerPoint. So I can use my pen, I can illustrate, which I would really recommend. Like, if you have an ability to add any illustrations, add them, right? The more personal or engaging or immersive you can make your lecture, the more realistic you can make it to like what it would be in person, the better it is. So yeah, for sure, I would recommend using your tablet, right, to do your illustrations. Or if you're really good at a mouse illustration, go for it. But adding illustrations and voiceover is huge. Now, live lecture considerations. So check your LMS. That's the first thing I'd recommend for any of these things. Like, see what your university already has available. I know quite a few programs or universities have like large enterprise solutions for a ton of different software already. And I think some are adding on kind of in response to this like outbreak. So if you do, if you have time, like go through and see what's available to you. For live lectures, you're going to want to use something that's embedded into your LMS just for FERPA issues and for like, maintaining confidentiality. Like, you don't want to be using something too external to like what the university provides. So Blackboard has Blackboard Collaborate. That's usually integrated in every single LMS for Blackboard. You can access that. It auto records, schedules, and archives. Oh yeah, LMS is Learning Management System. So the two big ones, Blackboard and Canvas. Is anyone else using a different LMS in their university besides Blackboard or Canvas? Moodle, yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah, so check to see what's already included in your LMS. Because if you're doing conferencing with students, for FERPA reasons, you want to make sure that what you're doing is embedded and housed by your university. You really don't want to be using your private Zoom account or whatever you're using. Make sure it's run through the university just for your own sake. Okay, and student privacy. The other big thing is limit the number of apps you have running in the background, right? Don't, like, if you have an older computer, if a slower processor, this is particularly important. Video conferencing takes up a lot of processor speed. So if you're running several different things, like, make sure that you are like, you're closing those out so you can run that video conference, because you'll get a lot of lag. Again, video conferencing is predicated on processor speed and bandwidth on your internet. And if you're limited on either of those, make sure that you're shutting down other applications. While the minimum for video conferencing is about 15 MPS, I run
for my videos, for my movie watch.
While it recommends 15 MPS, I'm running mine on like 200 MPS. So the faster the better. If you have an Ethernet connection, I would recommend that as well. So like Wi-Fi connections sometimes can be spotty. So I would really recommend, if you have the ability to do that, have a hardwired internet connection, because you want that signal to be as consistent as possible. Wi-Fi does not guarantee, and I have friends who work in IT, IMS, your internet speeds are not guaranteed to be consistent with Wi-Fi. So if you're giving a lecture, you probably want it to be hardwired, and mine's hardwired right here. Okay. Use a share screen as well, instead of sharing files. And again, that's so I can have my notes up. So I have that on my left screen, and my right screen, I have the PowerPoint that I'm looking at. So it's good to have that. And then front screen, I have my camera and the chat. So it looks like I'm just talking to you guys naturally, but I have both kind of up at the same time. And if you run into a situation, yeah, Sarah, you absolutely can. So that's the advantage of using a dual monitor setup and just sharing your screen. Yep. So if you run the PowerPoint, so I can show you, I can flip this screen. Give me 1 second here. I can show you, so this is my left screen. I have this up right now. So you'll see this is what I have up on my left screen. You can see that here. And if I share this to my middle screen, you'll see the video. So you can avoid that by using dual monitors. Great. Now, if you run into issues, if you're noticing that your signal is lagging, like for some example, like you can't hear, like there's a delay in students responding to you, or things sound choppy, what you can do is you can basically cut your signal. So run your video through the video conferencing app connected to the internet, and then run your audio through your phone. Zoom does this, Blackboard Collaborate allows this, WebEx allows this, and then use a headset so you can have your, obviously your hands available to you, right? So that's a big one. If you're stuck in a situation that you don't have reliable internet, you can run the video conferencing. Usually, even with spotty internet, the audio signal is what gets the most kind of banged up. And then you'll just do the slides through the video, audio, your video, your audio signal through your phone. Yeah. So for hands-on skills, there are several options available out there. We use a system called Bongo, which used to be called UCU. Has anyone used this before? I know Mariana and Mark has. Yeah, it's great. All right. So again, check your university's enterprise software, or what's embedded as a tool in your LMS. A lot of times schools have this. Typically if you have Canvas, you'll probably have Bongo available. Usually kind of they work together, integrate really well. So check to see if you have it. So the tough thing is CAPTI is now requiring, there's an email, I don't know if you guys saw this, it came out, Kaltura. So all these things are basically our video recording and uploading interfaces. So Bongo, which you see a lot on Canvas, Pantopo, which you see a lot on Blackboard. The students can film themselves and upload those videos to the LMS or an external tool tied to the LMS so it's safe and secure, and you can review those things, grade them, and give feedback. Some of them allow for video feedback, like Bongo I know allows for video feedback. I can give either a text-based response or video response to students. Oh, did I spelled that wrong? Panopto? Same difference. So that's the way we've done some low-stakes skill assessments. So not skills checks or practicals, because CAPD is requiring us to make sure those skills assessments are done in person. But if you want to at least kind of maybe prime them for their skills checks like ahead of time, so they're practicing, you can assess if they're like learning technique you're demonstrating through video, you can use this. I have an entire video library of all my all of my pulmonary and respiratory assessments that I give to students on YouTube. We also have it as MP4s uploaded in our LMS, and then we have those videos available or uploads on Bongo. Yeah, it's going to probably be a university thing. I think we're waiting to see what we decide to do as a university. But yeah, I've heard a mixture of things. All right. So just be mindful of your, whatever your university policy is. All right. For now, just some basics with online pedagogy and just kind of keeping students engaged. The biggest thing is, again, we're trying to keep the immersive element. Like, you guys are all educators, have had many years of experience. It's just trying to bring that into an online space. I would really recommend your live lecture, like if you're transitioning to online only, I'd recommend the heavy content that requires a lot of like studying and review and reflection. Make that what we call asynchronous video. So that's stuff where you've recorded, you've posted it onto the LMS, and they can review on their own time. Because live lecture, you probably want to use that to synthesize and apply that pre-recorded content. You probably don't want to add a bunch of new stuff to a live lecture just because, no one's going to sit through 3 hours of lecture content online. Not possible. No one's going to have attention span for that. We try to keep our lectures to an hour, hour and a half maximum, and really more closer to the 1 hour side. We are using, at our universities, we use Blackboard Collaborate at UIC, and we use WebEx at Baylor. And again, for live lecture, I'm not teaching new content. I'm reflecting on all the pre-recorded content that I gave the week before and applying it. Yep. And maybe doing cases, because it's just really, really hard, really hard to teach a bunch of new stuff in an online, video conferencing lecture. Most universities, WebEx is usually, you have to usually enable it. So you go through your tools on Canvas and see if it's available to you, but it's usually in there, or some sort of video conferencing client. Yeah, it's usually a plugin or something you have to enable. Might be Zoom. It's the same difference. They're both equally effective. Yep, not a problem. Keep lectures engaging. So polling. So there's some software out there you can use. Poll Anywhere. Turning Point's one that we use at Baylor that I can embed polls into my slides. So that's another option for you. You can have students hop onto the mic just like you would in class. So that anything that you can kind of keep the lecture integrative is great. Soccerdive's another example, right? Tons of options out there. Any way that you want to use, though, the overall goal is to keep it engaging, right? You don't just want to be reading right off the slides or you want to keep it like an engaging, active process. We use a thing called Turning Point. If I use a tool that's not associated with a Moodle platform, if I'm not recording, I don't know about that one. I don't know who KTB is, but I would be cautious. I'd run that by your department. I really, anytime I have interactions with students, even in our hybrid program, unless it's emergencies, I have it run through anything our approved university communication channels. Yeah. Whether it's WebEx or not, yeah. 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 So the more you want to put that heavy content, your lecture content in asynchronous formats, and then use live lectures to keep that classroom community immersive experience, right? Because one of the feedbacks, one of the struggles with online learning is that you feel kind of isolated, which of course we're trying to do, right, for vector control. But it is a concern that they feel like they're removed from everyone. So the live lectures are really a way to kind of bring not only the content together, but the class together, right? So you think of it for that, right? And then that really explains why you want to do the heavy content in an asynchronous manner. If you have a faculty team or a secondary faculty or an adjunct, I'd really recommend having them online with you during those synchronous lectures. It can get kind of overwhelming. What are people's class sizes? So at Baylor, we have a class of 100 per cohort. UIC is 60. And that can be kind of tough to manage a chat bar, your lecture, and everything going on at the same time. So having someone else to help you out, can be really, really useful. So you can focus on keeping things on task. We're going to talk about Flipgrid in a little bit. Yeah, I love Flipgrid. Love Flipgrid. Yeah. So anything that you anything that you can do, to help with that, so you can bring on someone else. Karen, they said they will not. They will not. Yes, I think some LMSs allow for breakouts. I believe WebEx does. I don't use them, but I've heard that's a good option if you want to break up the group. Either way, though, you're probably going to want to have, if you have a class maybe more than about 40, I would think about bringing someone else in to help you manage the chat bar, because it can get kind of overwhelming. And when you have a lot of questions coming in from 40, 50 students, it detracts from the lecture, and then it makes the lecture delayed, right? It doesn't keep it on task. So having that other person in there as well helps. They can respond to the questions in the chat bar while you can kind of continue with the lecture. Great. Use discussion boards. Another way, again, to keep things that can keep students from feeling isolated. Discussion boards, tweet chats. Again, you can have a look at your university policy. One thing that I am a big fan of, we've used at Baylor for a lot of different courses, a thing called Flipgrid. So here's an example of what it looks like here. So Flipgrid is a video-to-video upload panel. The great thing about it is that I can give a video introduction to the assignment. Students post a video response, and then faculty can give a video response. Students can give feedback to each other. So it feels like you're kind of in class to a certain degree, like you still have this interactive, audio, video, exchange, but it's just on a remote platform. No, they can log in remotely. They don't have to physically be in the same place. Yeah, Flipgrid is enabled through our LMS, and it ports directly to our LMS when we do our grading. So this is an example of the grid that we have here. So I can see who's responding. You can see the number of engagement. We get a ton of engagement on this, hours and hours of engagement, and I can track who's looking at different things. As well as if we find something, response to a certain question, we can star it as well. So it's a great platform, great platform for interactions with students. So that's all I was going to cover in terms of formal webinar, and then I will just open the floor for questions from the group. Or Mariana or Mark, do you add anything else before we jump in, actually?
The only thing I want to add is that just be aware of your students. The students are having a lot of anxiety as well. especially regarding technology. They didn't sign up for an online class, and some of them are not as comfortable as we all may assume they are. And also, if you can limit for your department the amount of different software you use, be all on the same page, that's really helpful for students.
Yeah, I would agree. So, if you have access to something, if you have access to mental health counseling for your students, that's something I would make sure recommend they have available to them.
And frequent conversations with them. Create a community. It's really important during this time.
Yeah, Gail. So like I mentioned, I would, the Bongo or whatever video to video uploading interface, whether it's Bongo, Pantopo, or whatever is out there, that's a way for you to possibly have students like practice skills that you can like review, but CAPTE is not allowing us to call that a practical or even a skills check. So it's a way for maybe to check on skills, but not call it a skills check. So we do that at Baylor with my cardiopulmonary course. I give them videos of all the techniques that I want them to practice. And then we'd have them like demonstrate some very basic stuff. And then we review it. When they come on site for our immersive lab, we review some of the stuff, but I already know that they kind of covered this stuff already. It's a way to prime them for their practical. So it's a way to kind of think about it. And that's the way around. So Becky mentioned, a CEU-like weekend skills labs that you might be able to try. It's going to depend on your university policy. I think like UIC is limiting groups of 20. So that's the cap for how many can kind of be in the same location. But run it by your university. You can teach hands-on skills, but I don't think they're counting it as lab time. Yeah, I'm hoping they decide to change their opinion on that, 'cause that's kind of rough. Yeah, I think they'll coalesce here. Yeah, I think they'll make a adapt. Like that's a little harsh, right? A little harsh. I don't know. I'm not sure. The other questions we had up here. Oh, so Terry, examples for online discussions boards. So an example that you could, Flipgrid could be one that you could even use. So we do this for different like assignments and stuff that you can have them, respond to a question prompt. Most LMSs will also have a discussion board. Canvas has one, Blackboard has a discussion board. We've used tweet chats as well.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
It's Mark Shepard. The discussion boards are a really good way to get some fruitful reflection with students. I think, though, there's a number of things that can get kind of out of hand. As faculty, a lot of times when you're setting up a discussion board, you may actually put several guiding questions. So, for example, you may have 3 or 4 questions that go into one discussion board. And I find that sometimes can be very overwhelming and add to the cognitive load that a student may be dealing with when they're trying to answer these. So I really have suggested to many faculty and even myself over the years to try to be more specific with the question, because you will find the discussion will be very, very focused and actually expand in quite a deep way. And then 2, when you're thinking about your discussions, we've talked about Flipgrid, we've talked about, just the regular discussion boards that can be built into your LMS. Think about not just using technology because it's there. A lot of times I've gotten caught just because I'm excited about maybe using Flipgrid to use it. And I've found that oftentimes you will find that, for Flipgrid, you want to do a video discussion, really ask yourself, is that the right type of technology for that type of assessment? It's similar, just as we are as a clinician, would you do that intervention for that impairment? And so I've really focused on what's my learning objective? does that learning objective map to the assessment, and is the assessment being mapped appropriately to that type of technology that you're utilizing? Just because it's there doesn't mean it needs to be utilized. So just keep it short, sweet, simple, and then utilize technology as appropriate, not because it's there.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that, Mark. That again, like, you know, some of you guys, you're getting like 24 hours, 12 hours, right? I know it's a scary thing. Like, keep things as simplified as you can. Like, don't try to, you know, overdo stuff just because, you know, we're online. Like, you know, the basics still don't change of good pedagogy. We're just moving into a different medium, but there's some different key principles to focus on. Biggest thing, again, break up your lectures. Like, do not post an hour-long lecture, and do not try to put the heavy content to a live lecture. It's not going to be successful. Skills exams, they are not going to be allowed per CAPD. We're not allowed to do skills assessments remotely to count for practicals or skills checks for now. We do, again, like I meant, like those skill primers that we use, Bongo, where we have students like film themselves and upload them and give feedback, but I can't call that a skills check per CAPD. For remote examinations, that's a great question, Matt. Check with your university LMS. Some are already embedded. We use a system called Proctorio or Respondus. You know, so Proctorio allows us to monitor students remotely, monitor their screen, limit the screen they use. It shuts down pretty much everything besides the exam. So the big thing to acknowledge with this, again, like we mentioned, your students did not sign up for an online program. So these proctoring software require they require the same processor and bandwidth requirements. So make sure that your students have that technology available, because you know they may not have purchased a computer fast enough to run these things. You know, it's a requirement, it's a program requirement for our students coming into Baylor, because all our exams are done remotely. So there are different proctoring softwares out there, though. Yeah, so we do demonstrations, right? We do have them film themselves, but we can't call that a skills check. So they're graded, right? So they upload their skills onto Bongo, and you know, I'll give them an assignment for, say, auscultation. I'll have them auscultate the different lobe segments of the lung. They'll post it onto Bongo, and then a faculty will review them and give them feedback. That's not called a skills check, though, because per CAPD, skills checks and practical examinations can only be done face-to-face. Usually because you have a camera, and usually even the proctoring software, CAPI, will track eye movements as well, and head movements. And it'll flag you if anything seems suspicious. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Michelle, they're the same. They should be the same. They're about the same. And those are the absolute minimum requirements. Yep. Yeah, that's true too, Karen. So usually for the proctoring, you know, whichever one you're using, they'll pick up the computer and then they'll scan the room, they'll sign, show their ID, so you'll know who's in there or not. Big thing I would make sure that you avoid doing is we call the intelligence scan. So what this does, there is a scan that will scan during the exam, the room, that causes all kinds of troubles. Accidentally went off in one of our exams a while ago, and it caused all kinds of chaos. So scan at the beginning and just the front of the screen. Don't have them pan it during the test. It causes all kinds of chaos. So the limit though of ExamSoft, I don't know if ExamSoft allows you to run Proctorio. because it shuts down pretty much everything else. And ExamSoft does not have a built-in proctoring, function. So guys, keep all the questions in the public chat because I'm sure everyone has the same questions. So let's kind of keep this in a communal basis. If you have questions, keep them in the public chat. Yeah, I haven't used the extra proctoring function. Usually those things, so we have run into an issue at UIC with this, that we're looking around. You may be able to give open book exams or just stress to students the honor code. Or again, some universities are allowing people to come on in limited timeframes. I mean, the other thing to think about, your students are PT students. I mean, cheating's pretty rare. Putting time constraints. So if you limit the time of your exam, so you don't make it just an open-ended time, make it have unlimited time, make it an hour, 50 questions, a minute or so per question, scramble your responses, scramble your answers, make it difficult for them to take it or to cheat. You could probably get by without them having to even use a proctoring and just acknowledging that there may be some limits. I'll just put up the whole thing so you guys can take it out as you feel. Yeah, and Kristen brings up a great point. Like, try not to throw in, like Mark mentioned too. Like, this is a stressful situation for us, obviously as educators. It's an even more stressful situation for your students. So the more that we can make this seamless, the better. Yeah, Kayla. So for time accommodations, depending on the module or on the system, Canvas allows us to just add additional time to individual students. With ExamSoft, you have to post a separate exam with just longer times. That's what I do. Yeah, but it'll depend which one you're using. ExamSoft, you have to make 2 separate exams, at least one, the system we're using. And with Canvas, I can just add additional time. Oh, you can? Well, I haven't even found that. So either way works. Either way works. The big thing is everyone's university license to your software is going to be different. So the recommendations I'm giving you are for what we have available to us at Baylor and at UIC. So make sure that you you see what you have available to you. How do you handle the students that have questions about a question during exam? We just wait till the end. I mean, I can't really have them contact me during the exam unless there's so we do give out our, we give out contact information for whoever's proctoring. They can text or call us during the exam if something goes wrong. And that's if they get locked out or something of that nature. But usually we save questions about questions until after, and we go over it during the item analysis. I don't do it during the exam because there's no way for me to get that out to students if there's an issue. And usually, I believe once ExamSoft goes live for a question, I think with Canvas exams, you can't really edit. So I just, we look at over it during item analysis post hoc. Yeah, and regarding the number of skills primers, it depends on the course. And right now, with this being in the middle of the semester, I would really recommend, you're not going to be front loading them with a lot of these. I mean, we're looking at maybe a month remaining with the semester. I mean, I'm not sure what your lab schedules are. We'll probably do 2 here at UIC, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so Kathy, absolutely. You should be doing item analysis on all of your questions anyway, like seeing what did not perform well. and make sure you do a very thorough review before posting. I usually have a second pair of eyes look over my question. That's why that secondary faculty is really helpful, especially in an online format, because unlike in an in-person class, I can't make adjustments on the fly. So have someone, like, you know, if you have someone there to do another look over your exam before posting, the better. If universities close in person. I have no idea. I'm not CAPT. I wish I knew, because I have no idea how they plan on doing that either. Yeah. Great. Erica, yeah, you and me both. I wish I knew.
Hey, Rich, I'm going to respond to one of Jen's points there. And Jen, I think you asked about, you know, how many skills, you know, demonstrations would you have during the remainder of your course or in your course? And I think my first comment really is, it goes back to your learning objectives. You know, look at those objectives to see which ones, you know, call for demonstration of certain things. You know, that's really, I think, the first part. Just make sure you're doing it to map that. And most of the time, you know, you are in those lab-based courses, you're going to have them demonstrate to some degree in those courses. But I think when you ask the question, you know, how many is too many? Again, if you do everything with intent and purpose based on your learning objectives, you know, I tend to fall along less is more. Yeah. What you're going to find, and Rich, you probably can relate to this just from your own experience. Same with you, Mariana, is, you know, what we find with these video demonstrations is that you may say demonstrate 5 techniques or 3 techniques, and you say, you know, you have a 3 to 5 minute time frame to demonstrate that. What you'll find is that the students will actually probably take 3 hours to practice those things over and over again to get them perfect. So choose whatever demonstration pieces you feel are most critical, those things with critical safety elements that you want students to be able to either verbalize or demonstrate, but make sure that you pick those techniques you know, with that in mind, because they're going to practice the heck out of them. And then the other thing on a faculty standpoint, remember that you're going to be viewing and grading all of these things. So if you give them, you know, 5 or 6 techniques or more with 5 minutes of time to demonstrate those, and you have, say, 30 students or 60 students, or Rich has 100 or so with not a lot of supporting faculty, I mean, that's hours and hours of review. And if you're trying to humanize the environment and provide video feedback or written feedback, you know, a 3-minute video that you're reviewing can turn into 10 minutes of total time it takes on faculty. So just be really mindful of, you know, that faculty load there as well.
Yeah, Mark, I'll add to that. So that video assignment on Flipgrid that I showed you guys at the end, right? That was 2-minute like synopsis, students giving their feedback on how they feel PTs feel within the realm of health promotion, fitness management. Pretty low stakes, open-ended question. I have a team of 10 teaching that course with me. That took me an hour to go through 10 students for a pretty low stakes thing. So like Mark had mentioned, if you're throwing a ton of stuff on to a skills primer or skills assessment using a video format, it's going to take a lot of time. And I fortunately have a large team to help grade with me. I'm guessing most of you guys will be kind of on your own. So just be cognizant of that, like that there is a large time burden on the student as well as on yourself to do these things. So again, we're putting this stuff in, like we're not, you guys aren't building out an online program. We're adapting an in-person curriculum to online in an emergency situation. Does that make sense? A little bit different, right? A little bit different situation. So just, be cognizant of that. Great. Any other questions? Yeah, I have an online YouTube, and that's another point to mention too. So So I post all of my techniques onto YouTube. They are also, I give my students MP4 files so they can download them, but they're freely available on YouTube as well, no ads. Excuse me. There are also a lot of really great stuff that's already out there. So don't reinvent the wheel, right? If you don't have to. Don't reinvent the wheel, right? Like, spend some time even looking through YouTube. Like, there is stuff on egophony and bronchophony and whispered ventriloquy that I think a medical school created in Virginia that I don't, that I use my courses. Like, I don't need to film those again. Those are excellent content, right? I don't need to do those again. But something, maybe if I can't find a video that already exists that really fits the way I want to teach something, then that's when I'm going to film it on my own, right? So look for what's out there already. If you can't find it, then consider filming it on your own. My YouTube channel name is the same as the Facebook page, PT Reviewer. It's all the same, PT Reviewer. The Cardiopulmonary section also has a free video category on blood pressure technique, an assessment. It's completely free. It's on the Cardiopulmonary section's website and the YouTube channel. And we're also working as a section to upload like videos for people teaching cardiopulmonary content. I'll be posting all of my lectures for this semester online for free as well. Feel free to use them. There's going to be educators everywhere in the same exact situation, right? So there's going to be a lot of options. Collaborate, share with each other, because we're all in the same situation here, guys. Yeah, Fran, I don't think CAPTES put a rule on that. I'm hoping they don't, because I'm really hoping they don't. Because I think presentations you could probably do online. You could just use the same video conferencing as you would normally. Yeah. Yeah, you can use your video conferencing. They could share their files on the screen, and you can usually, when you create a channel, you can switch hosting privileges to people, and then they can present. So use your video conferencing through your LMS. Unless CAPTE decides to change that too, and not give us any leeway on that. I'm really hoping they are a little bit more lenient with some of these things. No problem, guys. We're all in this together, and again, I'm not the only person out there helping. There's gonna be plenty of other people. We're all in the same situation. I've been doing this for a few years. Let me make sure. I know there's anxiety amongst students. I know there's anxiety amongst faculty. Anything I can do to help is going to be great for everybody. We're all in this together. And no worries, guys. No worries. No worries, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, we'll end it there. I'll try to get this uploaded as soon as possible. There will be another webinar, I believe, through the geriatric section on Thursday. I'll be on that one with Mariana as well. Miles Quayman, I always miss her last name. Miles will be there, and a few others from the geriatric section. So look for that on Thursday evening. So keep your ears to the ground. I think the Academy of Academic PT will be doing some stuff as well too. So again, we're all in this together, guys. We gotta kind of support each other here. Mariana, is there one yet for the AGPT one for the Academy?
No, we will get it together within the next day and we will send it out soon.
Great. Wunderbar. Very good.
Thanks, Rich, for your time.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Mariana, you as well.
Thank you all.
Anytime.
All right, great, guys. Well, enjoy your, I guess, social isolation. And feel free to reach out, through any of the social media channels or email if you have any further questions. Best of luck, guys. Hey, take care, Mariana. Okay. Yes, it's all been recorded, so I'm gonna hop off here and get this up for you guys. Okay. We'll stop recording there.